Joe Miller, very welcome back to the Celtic Soul Podcast. It's been a long time since you've been on the podcast, but I have seen you. A lot has been happening of late, well, all season really, uh, in Glasgow, especially in the East End of Glasgow. Joe, you text me during the week to say that you wouldn't trust anyone up there, be it the board or Brendan Rodgers. I said it to Michael Pringle, who was on the podcast during the week, and he said, "Yeah, you wouldn't buy a used car off any of them." Does that sum up who's running the club and who was managing the club?
Definitely. Yeah, I watched the one with Michael the other day. Lovely kitchen, as you
Yeah, I
pointed
thought that
out.
myself.
It's hard work on that. But yeah, getting back to the serious stuff. You can't take any sides in this, and I think anybody who does is very naive. Brendan knew the score with the board when he came back. We all know what he's like. You wanted him to do well because it's obviously Celtic's your team. You want him to do well. So obviously, with a lot of reservations, yeah, we backed him, but we knew probably middle of last season it was going downhill. The Aberdeen final was just enough for me. I said it during the week. Going for a treble, and we end up a double and a spineless performance that we'd seen all season, and he didn't change it. So yeah, don't trust him. Never did. The board doesn't even need explaining about them. They made these decisions as well, and they're kind of making out. Now they're trying to make out it's not their fault, and they're doing something about it. No, they're just as guilty getting into this European campaign with a squad that we had. So it's just been a shambles all round.
Do you think it repeats itself every couple of years?
It does, yeah, because history shows it does. I get that it's hard to get quality players into Celtic for the league. We understand that. We're not stupid enough to think we're going to get the top players. But they talk about models. The models there is to get good players, and you don't go in, you don't lose quality players and don't replace them with quality players. Now, it's like Kyogo, etc., Matt O'Reilly, you name it, all these guys that have left us, whether they choose to leave at their own accord, which is fine, I get that, that's football, but if there's reasons behind it, the other reasons, well, Celtic need to start working on these a wee bit more, keeping players, especially good players, happier. But we can't go into European campaigns like that. That was just a disgrace. And that, I don't blame on the manager as much, because that's just a collective. That is, you don't name one, that is a collective of our custodians up there, the guys who look after us.
Were you surprised with the fan groups, all the associations and the fan groups all coming together finally?
Well, there's been over the years. There's been times when it's been close. Everybody's been singing off the same hymn sheet, but again, it's difficult. You don't. I have mates who have got different opinions from me on all this, and you kind of go, well, why do you think like that? But you need to understand it. People turn and say, but look at the success we've got. Well, yeah, that's fine. Success is built on keeping that success rolling over season after season and pushing yourself and improving. And if you don't do that, it doesn't matter if you won the double last year and you go into this season the way we have. That's a bit of a failure if you don't go into this European campaign. We've said it for years now. Europe's where you want to be tested. Yeah, you want to win domestically because you need to win domestically to go into Europe, but you want to test yourself, and you can't do it with the way these guys are setting us up. It's impossible. Europa League's on Thursday. They don't get you up. They don't get you going. But obviously when you're at the game and you get a performance, yeah, it's good. It's always the same when you actually see your team doing so well. But it's like, it's still not there. It's Champions League. It has to be Champions League. And they let us down all the time.
Yeah, Joe, it's it seems to be the frustration that everybody I spoke to this week is that Europe is where we want to be, and we got a taste of it last year in the new format of four home, four away,
Mm.
and then obviously Munich could have been it was an incredible kind of an incredible journey, and then to go out of Munich was disappointing, but it was like well, we've progressed.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
as you say, Munich was amazing. Okay, we got put out, but what a performance! That's where you want to be, and we stood up, and you're like that. This is where you should be pushing on, but we don't. We're at a level now. Like, can you imagine that a team the squad we got out just now playing Bayern? Jeez, man, it'd be frightening. Absolutely frightening.
and do you think as well, like some of the players that are at the club, who played in these big games, are kind of looking around and saying, "Well, why has he not been replaced? Or why?" Like they must be frustrated as well because they can see the team going backwards.
Of course, you would be if it's like any job or anything you're in, and you're relying on other folk. Now, in work, you've turned around and went like that. Jeez, need to step up a bit here. They're not so good or whatever. People probably say that about me when I do work,
I'd say so, yeah.
and podcasters as well.
They're the worst.
So it's like, yeah, of course, they must be looking at the standard and go, and it must drag you down a bit as well. The Cal Mack, for example, perfect example was against Hearts there. Great performance in first half. He was facing the opposition, going direct, scores a typical Cal Mack goal, stroking that ball into the corner of the net, which we used to see quite regular. And then the second half, we the team, go back to our usual stuff. McGregor's got his back to the goal most of the time. And you're just saying, how can that change from one half to the other like that? It baffles me, but that's obviously, again, that comes down to Rodgers. How many times did we see Rodgers coming out? St Johnstone game away when we could have won the league, and he comes out and he goes, "Yeah, we've seen that before. Well, do something about it. That's your job, And he just kept it going, and that led us into obviously the final, and then against Aberdeen, and then we're doing it again in the league this year. Baffling.
Well, after the week we've had, he's gone. We've had the statement, we've had a protest, and we've had the biggest shock of the week was Man O'Neill coming back.
Well, honestly, you couldn't make it up. You've got Dermot Desmond there coming out, who never usually peeps a word or anything, and he comes out and uses the official channel for his punch. There you go, Brendan.
Punch, kicking the bollocks.
I know, and you're going, fucking hell. You're like that. But he's using that as he's using the official club channel to vent that out. That should be the job of the CEO, all the rest of it. It's not his job to come out. When does he ever do that? So, again, you're thinking, what's going on here? Out of order. Yeah, put out an official statement, but that was him saying it. So anyway, you got that, and then you got what's going to happen, and the rumours were Sean Maloney, and then you're thinking, well, what's going to happen here? And then you don't hear anything about the backroom staff. You hear about the other ones going, and then the backroom staffs eventually they filter out that they're going, and then Martin and wee Sean is heading the team. Martin is this, he's funny. He knows how to play the media, etc. I watched one of his the media conference the other day, and he was like, he has good quality to watch and listen to, but Christ, where do we go from here? It's quite a hard one, to think. You need to think. Somebody asked me the other day, who do you want as manager? And I said, it doesn't matter who we want. We never get what we want. It's what they want, the board. So it's whatever that they've got in mind is kind of frightening, Now, you hear some of the names bandied about, which are kind of obvious names. You think that Rabbi Keane and all the rest of them and all these guys, you're just thinking, nah, we don't want him, for God's sake. Can you imagine it? So you're just kind of going, no, we don't have a say in who's going to be manager. they'll obviously have some. They'll probably do it better than they do in the transfer window anyway to get players. They'll have somebody there, I think.
Like with the exception of Ronnie Delia was kind of we hadn't had a Ronnie, we hadn't had a Vans. So they were two that come in that went in Dermot's black book. You know, he hadn't played golf with them, but like Martin's back now the second time. Rogers was here twice. Neil
Yeah,
Lennon was here twice. You know,
yeah,
Tony Mowbray didn't get a second invitation. Um,
yeah,
Gordon Strachan was only here once, but he was here for decent length.
yeah,
But it's just as if, Dermot goes, right, whose number have I got?
yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
It's not a case of let's get, someone in that knows what they're doing and say, right, let's scare out Europe and bring in, which doesn't guarantee everything. I still maintain that, some managers would come there, they might have a good CV, but like you've seen it across the road. They've brought managers in there, but if you're not winning every week, the pressure is just like it's fucking
yeah,
meltdown time,
yeah,
man?
yeah. It's a hard thing now. We talk about like models of football and all that. It's like look at the Dutch, like for example, Ajax, for example. They can go without winning the league and build a team who could play great in Europe, maybe get to quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then they just get totally picked off, and then they go and do it again. That's not acceptable here for us. We need to win the league every time we play it. Simple as that. And we've not got that mindset. We've like maybe Ajax would go, well, we're building a team, so it's going to take us a year and a half, 2 years. So that's the way it is. You just can't do that here. And obviously, you don't want that. I wouldn't want that model because you need to win the league and get into Europe. What's the point in going to your games if you're not going to win them and win the leagues? But it's this, you just wonder what they're going to do. It's like they're coming out with all stuff just now. Have you seen the stuff of the day? We're putting banners up. It's been lying bare since the season. Now, they should have been up and ready at the start of the season. So that's papering our cracks, and that's papering over them trying to look busy, And then there's the fans' survey out that came out today. So they're kind of promoting themselves as doing stuff. Now, that kind of seems to me that's been sitting there waiting for maybe something like this, and then they'll go bang, look, guys, we are doing something. We're talking to you. Look, there's the stadium getting done. No, the stadium thing, the survey thing, start of the season. Not now to cover over this debacle we've got.
Do you think that Darren Desmond's come in and he's cracked the whip in the boardroom and he said, right, the fans are protesting. We need to get, why is this not done? Why is that not done? What happened here? What happened now? And it was a case of, well, you didn't tell us to do it.
Well, you don't know. Maybe Double D, did he even know what was going on at the start and all that? He was up playing golf, Yeah, exactly, up in St Andrews. He probably found out because one of my mates, one of the Irish boys actually sent it over to us. It was a Corrs fan page, and it was mentioned about, because Dermot's boy was married to one of them, and it was mentioned how his name was mentioned, and this was on the Corrs fan page. And I'm going, that's probably how he found out about it all.
He's actually it made the business section of the Irish Times his outpost.
Yeah,
the business section,
yeah.
not the football section, because you wouldn't see much of a Celtic in the Irish Times, but the actual business section.
But it was interesting. He was there at the game the other night.
I was shocked to see him and Peter there. I honestly was, because Peter hasn't been there and Peter Lowell hasn't been there in a good few weeks.
Yeah,
and Dermot was never there.
No, I know.
So for Falkirk on a Wednesday night,
I know.
Hardcore.
And he turned up late. He was a few minutes late. He missed kickoff.
Well,
he was probably avoiding the protest outside.
He was probably yeah.
He was probably at the back shouting, getting them going. Aye, Lowell out.
The AGM coming up now, Joe. I've said it already this week. You may see changes. We're hearing whispers, but we'll wait and see. Joe, a massive, a good win on Wednesday night.
Yep.
It's always a massive occasion when we play, the Newco, or who formerly known as Rangers.
Halloween today as well.
Isn't it just after it's the anniversary of the
The
liquidation?
anniversary of the zombies.
And this is because Joe is so hard to get. I've had to do this very late in the night. I'm just going to do a gig now as well, Joe. So don't be. You'll have to get up at 6 a.m. in the future.
I know we really should do this more often.
Yeah, but Joe, massive game. Hampden. We want to get to a final. If someone told me that Matt O'Neill had the chance of winning another trophy with Celtic, I would have thought it was the walking team.
Yeah,
I would have thought we'd put together, or one of these Legends teams or something. I was so surprised. But I've so many memories with O'Neill home and away, and in Hampden, and and like when you think back to the Celtic team and the Rangers team, then you like they were two. There were some really good players in those teams. But
definitely. When you look back, you think of the 6-2 game and stuff like that. The Rangers weren't shit or anything like that. They were good players.
Yeah.
Team, so that made it even more special. But talking about Martin going to Hampden, I'm more confident than I was a week ago, because I wasn't happy thinking Brendan taking us to Hampden with the style of football, etc., and obviously his results against them. I'm a bit more optimistic now with Martin and Sean being there. So it's one of those ones. I'm not confident, but I'm not as downbeat as I thought it was going to be a few weeks ago.
It feels like a 50-50.
Yeah. And see, to be honest, they always kind of are, It's like, for their short history, the Rangers International Football Club have got, where we do have a kind of, they raise their game against us, and it's and because they've got all these fans from that other club following them, that they used to be our rivals. It's you kind of feel this kind of thing. Oh, is it them? Oh no, it smells like them. But it is that kind of, it can go it kind of anyway. These games tend to.
Yeah, well, look, if you were a fan of the Sex Pistols, or you were a fan of Fleetwood Mac, or if you were a fan of The Clash, you are never going to get to see those again, okay? So if you can see a tribute act, pay your tenner, pay your 20 quid and go to it, right? But don't come out of the gig and tell me you went and saw the Sex Pistols, The Clash, or Fleetwood Mac.
Exactly. Well, the Pistols and the Clash, Fleetwood Mac, I'm not too fussed about.
I threw them in just to see what you say. Joe, as an old punk rocker, Joe, because it's so long since we spoke, so much has happened, right? There was a big fallout with St. Pauli.
Yep.
You were involved in the Glasgow St. Pauli Club. What was the story?
Well, basically, when incidents in Israel and Gaza all kicked off, us Glasgow St. Pauli international clubs kind of basically said, "Look, we need to do the usual, no to war, all the rest of it." But we got accused of all sorts of things after this. It was like, "Oh, why are you siding with you support Hamas?" and all that. So there was a lot of things getting thrown about. So we ended up saying, "Look, we need to kind of clear the air here." We had a chin wag. We were talking away to all the club and all this different ones, and some of the shit that was thrown at us was unbelievable. Anti-Semitic and all the rest of it. It was just like ridiculous nonsense, and we were going, well, St. Pauli, we don't take sides. It's always been a no to war, no matter who it is. It's, and why aren't you doing it now? And then, it just got really dirty, and a lot of international fans were just going, well, this is not the club I know, this is not the fan base I know. And it went on for a bit, and up to the point that one of our guys actually went over to Mullintor, had a meeting, and he said it was just the same as like having the discussions on Zoom calls, etc. and all that. He says they just weren't for it, and they accused us of everything. Anything you said against Israel was just thrown straight back at you, you know. And then a couple of weeks ago there, I seen they had a banner up, stop the genocide and all that. I'm going, well, you're a bit late with that, boys, you know, coming on board. As much as I thought, good, but nah, I get rid of all my St. Pauli stuff, you know, it's heartbreaking. I've still got friends over there who stood on the right side of history right away and called it out. They know who they are. They're still my friends. They always will be. A small minority of them tried to do stuff, and but for me, they mean nothing to me. It was heartbreaking for this because you know yourself what a history I had with them, you know, and going back years, being a season ticket holder for there, used to go over every so many games a year, and then out of that when there wasn't football, I'd go over, and it was just terrible the way it all panned out, and it's still there, you know, because the protests that they are doing, there's still people shouting at them for it, and you know yourself, it's just a difficult situation for Germans to criticise Israel because of their history, but it's just ridiculous that they can't, you know, but there is good hope there. You see big protests in Berlin, for example, and a lot of cities are coming out supporting the Palestinian people. And as you all know, as soon as you say that, it's not supporting Hamas, it's just supporting the people. You know, these fucking poor unfortunates that's getting bombed just now. Again, the so-called ceasefire. How many children have they killed over the last few days? Over the announcement of the ceasefire, how many people have they killed? Still goes on. So people are blind with this, and a lot of St. Pauli is it's difficult for the people that called it out straight away. They're just looking at it and going, shaking their heads as well. You know, the situation is unbelievable. As for us, Glasgow St. Pauli, we disbanded, told them where to go, basically. Kind of a lot of we are also part of Love Glasgow Hate Racism, which was a kind of a kick-off from the Glasgow St. Pauli. That was a kind of thing we did as well. So we're still going strong. A lot of people in that we go to the marches at and try and put on stuff to help people. You know, just the way we used to do as a club, you know, as a supporters club. So it's disappointing, but still talk to my friends over there and keep in touch. But it was really disappointing.
Yeah, I met one of the old St. Pauli boys who goes to all the Celtic away games in Europe and does come to Glasgow as well. And I met him at the Dortmund game, and he's always been a great guy, great supporter of you know, the fanzines, subscriber, you know, years. Bump into him regularly, and I said to him, you know, what's the story? And he was heartbroken. He said at that time at the Dortmund, he says you can't mention it. He says you'll be arrested. He says it's breaking me heart to see clubs disbanding, supporters clubs disbanding. He says the relationship with the Celtic fans breaking down, and he was genuinely tearful because that's what, you know, like you had to walk away from St. Pauli. He can't. That's his team. And he says a lot of the older boys, he says, like, they've been kind of pushed to the side within the fan movements, and it's a younger group now, and unfortunately they don't share the same values as the older boys.
Yeah,
which is a real shame. But yeah, like, and it was. Which is, we must have spoke for over an hour at the Turnstiles. It was like he filled me in on a load of stuff, and it was an eye opener for me, you know, because I wasn't a St. Pauli supporter. Obviously, I look out for results, and because of the anti-fascist thing, and again, like you, I'd met a lot of friends, you know, St. Pauli fans, be it at gigs or at, you know, a football. So yeah, so I can imagine what it is for people who had invested, as you say, season tickets and so forth. But it's, as you say, it's done and dusted, and some of them stand on the wrong side of history, and they were judged in that. But back to Sunday, Michael.
Michael.
Sorry, Joseph. average Joseph, I should say, as Jackie tells me.
Yeah.
But Joe, back to Sunday, right? The ultras aren't there now because of the 500 tickets that was taken from Celtic fans for the Pyro. But Michael was saying during the week that it's kind of one of them games that you might get away without the choir, will say, because we're going to rely now on the players to give us something to cheer about. But like we've it really is like stepping back in time, you know. No ultras, man O'Neill in the dugout.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You
No
know,
bad.
we need a cameo role now from a player to bring back those, you know, brilliant memories.
Yeah. Well, it's up to some of the players there to step up and bring us new ones. That's always the case, you know. It's always a new squad, new players, new history, all to be written down, and things like Tom Rogic and all the rest of it. You know, it's these guys' memories at Hampden, you know, just are amazing. So it's up to somebody could grab it, should grab it. If I was a football player, I'd be like, let's fucking go for this, man. You know, that doesn't seem to be in a lot of modern players' psyche now. You know, it's all this where you put your headphones in, listen to music, listen to R&B, and where you're not your flip flops,
Get the revs on.
you know, instead of getting the revs on and getting yourself all pumped up for it, you know.
Yeah. I was coming back last season on the Saturday evening. We played St Mirren, and I think it was a 5 o'clock kickoff, 6 o'clock, something like that. And back in the airport, and Rangers were at home. Or the Zombies, the Rangers, they were at home, and they were all in the airport. And I think Motherwell had beaten them or something. They'd gone on a 4-5 beaten run, not unbeaten, beaten run under Barry Ferguson. And they were, it was a bit like they were livid, right? Now, obviously, they're at home. There's not as many on the flight as there is when Celtic are at home, especially flying into Dublin, because a lot of them would be out of Belfast.
Mm-hmm.
But they were fighting with each other anyway, right? Arguing on the plane, and then someone got barred out of. One of them said, "That's you gone now." He was barred out of the lodge, right? That they were going back to. And so I'm sitting there, right? And there's a guy. When I got on the plane, I said to the girl, "Is the plane full?" No, she said, "It's only half full." So I got on last, and I went, right, I'm not sitting where I'm meant to be sitting, you know what I mean? So I seen a guy with a banjo, and I said, right, the chances are he's a traditional Irish musician, which he was. So I sat beside him, and we got a chat, and he says to me, "We had the football." And I says, I says, "Man, the fucking game they were at, right?" And next minute, the three blokes behind me. Oh, right. And so we got chatting, you know. I said, "No, Celtic were playing in Paisley," and Johnny Kenny and was on the flight with Killian Phillips had scored for St Mirren that day against Celtic. He was on the flight with him and another lad, but they had the caps on, right? But I'd copped them getting onto the plane because they got on just ahead of me, and they were in the front three seats, and so we got off the plane, and I was running for the last bus, and Johnny Kenny. They were obviously forced off the plane, so they were ahead of me. So when I ran by them, just as we can through passport control, Johnny Kenny says, "They must be chasing him." Right? So I turn around and I says, "No," I said, "I'm running for a bus, Johnny." I says, "But I'm not hanging around anyway." And we were playing Rangers, I think, the next game, if memory serves me right.
Yeah.
And I said, we have a big one now, you know, next week. And he goes, "Yeah, get into them, get into them." And like I'm thinking to myself, well, he'll not be playing anyway.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that he'll play some part on Sunday. So I wish him well, and glad he wasn't noticed on the plane that night.
Oh God, I thought you were going to say you outran him.
No, well, here, going for the bus, I probably would beat him over a 10-meter sprint, but after that, I'd be bollocks.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something about Kenny. I just hope he has the same game he had the other night. Fairly poor, but done his job. Got the goals. So I'll take that on Sunday.
Take 2 goals on Sunday. 2 Johnny Kenny goals. Take it 2 any goals.
Bloody right, you know. It's like, yeah, of course I would.
Now, Joe, I'll be here, okay? I'll be at the game. I fly out then that evening, right? Probably get back for the last dance at the disco. Okay. You'll be in Glasgow. It's not easy when you lose to them. You know. Whereas for me, I'll be lucky if I see a Rangers fan until the next time I go to Glasgow.
Yeah.
There used to be one. There used to be one in the office I'm in, but he's long gone, thank God.
Yeah.
But so in the aftermath of a defeat, what you know what happens? Like there's fan unrest as there is, um, when it's celebrations, Glasgow's buzzing, Glasgow's green and white. Monday, everyone's in work, with bragging rights. But Peanut worse is with bragging rights, when it comes to the fixture. So, Joe, tell me, what it's going to be like if we win, and tell me what it's going to be like if we lose.
We win, you know the score. It's back to McKill's, some disco classics, some punk rock, some mod, some rebs to their levels. Everybody smiling. If we lose, I'm a miserable fuck. I know I am. I'm terrible for it. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't. A lot of times I don't even want to discuss the game because I'm that disgusted. I like to hide under a stone, but sometimes I just crawl out and go back into my kills. And after a few hours, same music lifts your spirit a bit, and then you kind of realise, shit, I've got the rest of the week now. I tend to do. I mind a guy said to me, he goes, "This is a good few years ago." He goes, "You always seem to wear blue on a Monday when Celtic beat Rangers. I've noticed." I went, "Oh, I don't know." I says, "I just wear whatever I want to wear that day, but I like wearing blue when we beat them because they kind of look at you and go, 'You fucking bastard.'"
Well, hopefully, be wearing blue on Monday, Joe.
Well, I might. I'll send you a wee pic.
Joe, I won't get back into McCool's. I don't think I might get in for one or two, but I'll not be staying long
Yeah.
because I'm flying back. So hopefully we'll be celebrating on Sunday night, and hopefully we get the manager we deserve at the club, the fans deserve, and don't leave it years now to come back on and talk to me.
I will not. No, let's do it again.
Joe, thanks very much. Folks, if you're on YouTube, we've been getting a bit of stick that we don't have enough followers, so hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss an episode with people like the average Joe Miller on the very average Celtic Soul podcast. Thanks a million.
Cheers, mate.